So, good evening and welcome back to another Thursday live stream with myself, Dark Lycan, and a good friend, Dave World Toys. So, tonight we have a couple of guests coming in. One of them, everybody should know, and I have a special guest as well. So, we'll bring in the special guest first. So, welcome, Nick. How are you tonight?
Hi, guys. How you doing? You all right?
Evening, guys.
I'm good. And we'll also bring in Scott's Retro Collectibles. Evening,
Hey,
Scott.
Evening, everyone. I thought I was a special guest. Oh.
I wasn't sure. Nobody told me.
Technically, for all of us, you're both special guests to both of us.
Like,
So.
we're going to bring in a special guest first. I'm like, oh, which one is it going to be?
Yeah.
It's nice to meet you, Nick. I've heard a lot about your like fiendish feats and the other. Is it the Cosmic Cowboys?
Cosmic Cowboys was a line we had last year as well. Yeah. It's good to be on. Thanks, guys. Thanks. It's always a pleasure. And I've known this reprobate, Dave, for God knows how long. So when he came on and was like, "Oh, do you want to come do this?" I was like, "Yeah, of course. Why not?"
It's like I try to get different guests every week. I mean, the last few weeks I've been doing just like having an open mic night so other people can kind of join. So tonight's like slightly different. So we'll do like an hour with you guys, and then I'll put the link up to see if anybody else wants to kind of join in and ask questions. If that's all right with you, Stu?
Yeah,
definitely.
So, Nick, you want to introduce yourself to you and the company and how it all started and what you do?
Right. Okay.
I know some of the people probably in the chat or anywhere out there's not probably heard of you as such, but you're such an amazing guy. It's, you know what I mean?
Oh, don't bless you.
I'll send a hat down to you, a big crown to you.
Yeah. Right. So I am Nick Durham. I am the co-owner of Nima Studios. We are a British independent designer toy studio and manufacturer. And when I say British manufacturer, I mean we manufacture here on British soil. So we are 5 years old in April. The pandemic pushed us into very, very different ways and very, very different, ways of working, etc. We had no choice but to kind of adapt and change what we were doing because like everybody before that, we were having things made abroad. And we just couldn't do that anymore. So we were like, you know what? We're going to have to do that here in Britain. So we built a small factory, as you do. You can't go out. You can't see people. What can you do? You build a factory. So we built a small factory and we now manufacture our action figures here. We started out with vinyl toys initially, was what we were doing, many years ago now. In 2019, 2018 may have been.
I think it was, Nick.
It was what?
I think it was 18, wasn't it?
It was 18. I think was the first ones. Was the Duck Boy ones that we did. Then Novatron started with the 8-inch deluxe figures in 2019 with Deathatron, and then it was followed by Jawbone. Who ended up being glow in the dark and ridiculously huge, which was cool. We then there was a gap while we tried to do things and sort things and we moved production over here. We then relaunched with Novatron 3 3/4. After that, we went into there was Novatron 3 3/4. Then there was Cosmic Cowboys. We followed that with Lord Buckethead, which I don't know if any of you guys have seen. The Lord Buckethead figure that was mental because we managed to track down Todd Durham, who we think we're related, but we're not sure. He lives in California, like literally in Beverly Hills. Like his postal code is 90210. It is. I know it is not. So we were shipping some stuff out to him, and I was like, oh wow, it actually is 90210. But we were I managed to track him down. He was the original writer and director of Gremloids, which is a 1984 Star Wars knockoff, which is interesting, shall we say.
All I can remember is that Spaceballs knockoff movie.
I don't even know how to describe Gremloids. Gremloids is an acquired taste, shall we say. And lots of people know Lord Buckethead because he always runs against the Prime Minister down in London on the Prime Minister's seat. And he's a character with big tall bucket, mouthpiece, big black cape, etc. But I was like, I can't make Darth Vader, but I can make Lord Buckethead. So I'm going to find like the guy who made it. Turns out the guy who wrote and directed, as I say, Todd Durham, is actually the writer and creator of Hotel Transylvania. So, guy's quite a big deal when you're kind of talking to him. He's like, yeah, he was creating, I wrote Hotel Transylvania and Hotel Transylvania 2 and stuff like that. And he was involved in the most recent one as well. And it's like, whoa. So you're kind of talking to this guy. He lives in Beverly Hills. He does all this stuff. And it's like little old me. And we put that figure out, 4.25 inch, which was just great. So we did that. And that was brilliant. We did Duck Boy. We brought Duck Boy back in 3 3/4, which I got to be honest, it's one of my favorite things we've done because it's our creation and it's something that I get to have a lot of fun with. And I've talked to Dave at length about this. That shows that Duck Boy is like my Ninja Turtles. It's like anthropomorphic characters that I can do whatever the hell I like with. And they get weirder and more wonderful as we go along. And there's more of those coming out, I think, in about a month's time in the 3 3/4 inch scale. So it's really cool. And then, of course, we did Cosmic Cowboys. We launched a comic book for Cosmic Cowboys. And then, of course, we went and we blew everybody's minds, and which we didn't realize we were going to do. We went to MCM London, and we had Fiendish Feet with us, and we've been working on this for like 9 months, and we had no idea what was going to happen. We'd gone to the NEC Toy Fair in the September, I think it was, at the beginning of September, and we'd shown off these prototypes, and I honestly couldn't believe it because at one point there was a queue of people at the table at the NEC just wanting to see what was in the plastic cabinet, going, I've heard there's Fiendish Feet figures, and I'm going, yeah, they're over there, and they're going, oh my god, they're amazing, and I was like, really? Yogurt pots, and I couldn't quite grasp it because we were not ready for just the chord that these things were going to hit. Because we sat down and we talked about it, and we were like, yeah, okay, well, we could do Fiendish Feet, and we could do them as a figure. See, there they are.
Yeah,
there they are, still on the packet as well. Awesome.
Yeah, I'm like that, Nick. I can't.
Still carded.
Yeah,
and we sat down for ages and spoke about like how do you turn a yogurt pot? Because let's be honest, I know there's a lot of nostalgia attached to these things from the late 80s, early 90s, but they weren't exactly great, were they? They were a yogurt pot. The design was amazing, but they were a yogurt pot. They were not designed to be kept, especially not like 30 odd years kept.
My little kids like keep that for it's unreal, isn't it?
Isn't it? And now you see them and they're all horrible and they're rotten in places and stuff like that. And it's like, well, that's because they're a yogurt pot. They weren't supposed to be a thing. And now they're suddenly a thing. And obviously when we kind of turned around and went, we're gonna do this, we're gonna turn these into figures. We were like, how do you turn that once had dairy product into it inside it into an action figure? So we're like, we've got to give it arms, and we've got to give it accessories, and we've got to give it little yogurt monsters. And I was like, I got to give it yogurt monsters because I need to throw back to like Toxie and Real Ghostbusters and stuff like that, which is stuff from my childhood. Because I was like, I've got to throw back to those with little ghosts, and also give it a yogurt monster. And as I say, we were not ready for what happened because like everybody just went mental and was going, oh my god, Fiendish Feet. And it was like, yeah, Fiendish Feet. And of course we weren't expecting that. And then of course we followed that with with the trapdoor, and everybody was like going, the trapdoor, like you're gonna do the trapdoor, and I was like, well, yeah, because I when I was a kid, I used to watch the trapdoor, and like so many British things when I was a kid, there wasn't an action figure for it.
Mm.
It's something that I've been saying a lot recently, that if you walk around like the NEC Toy Fair, like we do on the regular, you know, there's 550 odd stands in that room, and it's jam packed. It's like oozing with nostalgia. It's such an amazing event, that thing, and the nostalgia in there is palpable, because literally there's everything you could ever want in there. And if you're Star Wars, Thundercats, as you can probably see behind me, I'm a massive Thundercats collector. Thundercats, Star Wars, Action Man, G.I. Joe, everything. But if it's all American nostalgia, everything's American, because that's what it was in the 80s and 90s. It was like, you know, like Ninja Turtles. I know Dave's got a thing for Ninja Turtles. I love Ninja Turtles. Ninja Turtles, big thing. But Ninja Turtles was American.
Yeah.
It's an American property. So was Thundercats. So was He-Man. So was G.I. Joe. And it's all this kind of like, it's like I know people talk about Action Man, they talk about Action Force, they talk about $6 Million Man, all that kind of stuff, Doctor Who, which is great. But that's slightly before kind of mid 80s into 90s. After you get kind of mid 80s into 90s, it's all American. It's all very, very, very much Americanized. And I don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining about that, because I'm like one of the biggest Star Wars fans going. I love that. But because of that, we didn't get toys. We didn't get action figures for those things that we had in the late 90s and late 80s and 90s. And I've got this mission now that I'm on, that I'm like, I want those toys. I want those things that we didn't have because we were in Britain. I want those properties that were like, and I'll be completely honest with you, when we were doing Novatron and Cosmic Cowboys and stuff like that, we were selling, most of our product was going stateside, because it's,
they want it as well, don't they?
It's but it's also it's Novatron is very Motu Bootleg inspired, and Cosmic Cowboys is very, it's got that Brave Star kind of, you know, element to it, all that, and that's very much, it's stateside, and that's what they're into, and they love that stuff. Us over here, we're a little bit behind on bootleg culture. We've not quite grasped bootleg culture like the Americans have got. They've gone deep on bootleg culture. Speckletron. I mean, some man, for God's sake, is now part of Masters of the Universe.
Yeah.
It's like, what? When did that happen? Some man is now coming out in Origins. As in, like, some man in the Rulers of the Sun is now going to be on the shelf in Smiths. And that just is mind blowing, because up until like 3 or 4 years ago, that was bootleg. That was high end bootleg, and now it's legit, and it's part of like the He-Man universe, which is awesome. But I think we sold like one set of Fiendish Feats in the United States. Because
probably don't know about it. They probably never had it. They had something different in it.
It's here. That's why.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's here. It's British. And it's, you say to anybody, like, you know, to like the US, and you go, look, there were yogurt pots, and they go, well, not over here, they weren't. And it's like, yeah, but they were here. They were in Sainsbury's, they were in Tesco's, they were in Asda, they were in QuickSave. And it's like, what's QuickSave? And it's like, QuickSave doesn't exist anymore. It's one of those things. It's like, it's a British thing, and it's the same with this fella. It's the same with this guy. You know. I mean, fundamentally, shouldn't hold him by the eyes. Fundamentally, he's a blue blob, a plasticine. But it's
the same with Mort and Minty, is it? The brown.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But he's the trapdoor. He's birthed from the trapdoor, and that's the point. And I'm on this mission now with British properties to kind of like try and create these things. There you go.
everyone else is thinking about is those.
Mark.
You know.
So we're on this mission now where we're trying to create stuff from British properties where we're going, we want this because this never happened.
Nick,
And if that's your thing, I reckon I've got quite a lot lined up that you're going to like.
Here's a quick question for you, Nick. Your Fiendish Feet pots were quite smaller than the originals.
Yes.
Any chance of one day making them bigger but hollow, so you put your own like pencils or something into them, making them like full size like they were in the shops?
Maybe.
Limited run.
Maybe. Possibly.
You know, like you can basically go and take a set of your Fiendish Feet, put them on Sainsbury's into the chill counter. I wonder how many people would pick them up and like, are those?
I don't
think they fit on these shelters.
See, now I've got to be careful what I say here. I can say it wouldn't be the size of an original.
Yeah, but very close.
It would be bigger.
Yeah.
And I can
say one of the rules then we get in licenses from back in the day is you can't do exactly the same size. No. Well, I know NECA wanted the turtle license off Playmates originally and wanted to release them because of the Comic Con loop, is it, in the contract?
Yes, it's yes.
They could release 70 figures at Comic Con at that time. But then some of the rules changed. Is that correct still, Nick?
There's no rules with Fiendish Feet. We own Fiendish Feet.
Yeah.
If you make bigger sizes, 100%, I would definitely buy them. You know I will anyway, Nick. But I think that just reached such a bigger audience, wouldn't it? Because you've got, I don't know what they're called. Are they like the bigger bears that you can buy and people collect them, don't they? Like they're art pieces.
Yeah.
If they fitted in the same thing as that, you can imagine it'd just go crazy, wouldn't it? I would have thought because they're such iconic items.
See, my plan in the next couple of months, Scott, is to actually pick up some of these Fiendish Feats and some of the Cosmic Cowboys as well.
The other thing, I mean, I would. Well, firstly, thank you very much because all support is welcome. I can all I can really say at the moment because it's been being worked on for a while. Okay, and it's nearing completion, and I see updates on it regularly, and it's epic. And all I'm going to say is, you're talking about a bigger Fiendish Feet.
Yeah.
Imagine a Fiendish Feet that's an art toy.
There you go. Oh.
I can imagine a Transformer Fiendish Feet.
It's not a Transformer Fiendish Feet.
Because
that's Hasbro, and I don't want to get sued. Imagine a Fiendish Feet that's an art toy.
Yeah, that sounds good. Nick, I've got a quick question as well.
Yeah, sure.
It must feel amazing. So you've done this, you've been on this journey to make this happen, come to life. You're bringing it to life, and then you see people posting it online, social media. You got Leicester Toy Shop now that actually puts a post up, don't they, weekly, I think, and your stuff always pops up on there.
We've got how many stores have we got now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think there's 6 stores now, stockers. With from the Trapdoor and Fiendish Feet. It's nuts. It's crazy.
I'm surprised no one, given how big it is, obviously in the community, you know, everyone's picking them up. I see it on Toy Division, you know, we've picked them up. Bad's going to pick them up. I'm surprised no one's like anyone like Forbidden Planet or anything like that. And you don't say anything. It's down to you what you want to say. But I'm surprised no one's approached to say, actually, we've got this art stuff similar, obviously, to what you're speaking about, the bigger pieces. And they seem to be moving more that way, that they don't try and bring this kind of stuff in just to be different from everyone else.
Yeah.
Don't answer it. Just we'll leave it there.
It's a tricky question. I can.
Because it's Titan, isn't it? We've got Titan over, haven't we? Like, he does the magazines and everything. And I just would have thought, I'm not just saying with the stuff that you do, but I mean in general as well. I would have thought that they'd be moving more into this stuff. Actually, let's actually get what people want. People want this kind of stuff now. We're into all this. Customs are massive as well. But this brings us back to our childhood, and it's a niche market which is growing.
It's kind of funny.
Obviously. Sorry,
it's kind of funny, Scott, because me and my brother, when I was saying that Nick was coming on and he makes the Fiendish Feats and some of like the older knockoffs that we had when we were kids. It's like, I remember the yogurt pots. To this day, he could still remember having them in his hands. And he says that'd be so cool to actually have something like that for your childhood. Anything. And it's I mean, I've had a look at some of the Fiendish Feats on Nick's website, man, and it's like, oh, I need to get this, I need to get that. And then when you're talking about the Buckethead guy, I was like, I need to get that guy.
I think this is the thing. It's kind of like I always try and do this where I always try and do it where I won't make something that I don't want. Because what's the point?
Yeah.
What's the point in me putting the time and the money and the effort into something if I don't want it?
Yeah.
Because if I don't want to, if I wouldn't buy it myself and I don't want it, what's the point? How can I expect anybody else to hand over their money for it? You know, because especially in this day and age, every scrap of somebody's income is precious. Yeah. So how can I expect somebody to hand over that money for something if I wouldn't buy it myself? I think in terms of what you were saying, you know, about with regards to stockists and stuff like that, I can't speak for anybody else. And I can't speak about semantics and stuff like that because the amount of conversations I have is huge. I can tell you that with every release that we put out, the interest from retailers is getting bigger.
Which you'd expect. You'd expect so.
That I can tell you because we're getting a lot more interest from people who are looking at what we're doing and going, oh, okay, I can see that. I can see that. I've got to give, you know, I have to give 88 miles an hour toys and collectibles in Nantwich, 7 Trent Hobbies. Seven View Hobbies. Obviously the guys at Leicester Vintage were first in. You know, I've got to shout to Gav and to Joe. Because those guys, they were straight. I mean, I've known Gav for a long time, you know, but he was straight up. He was like, we're having this. So I've got to give, you know, the credit to them because they took the punt first with us. They were like, we're putting it on the shelf. It's happening. And there's a couple, as I say, who've come in since Kev over in Warrington, Manic Miners, I think it is. And again, it was more and more people all the time who are coming in on the back of it and going, we want a slice of that. We'll take a piece of that. And it's like, yeah, great, awesome. And I mean, the more people that do that, the more people see what we're doing.
What would your reaction then, Nick, be to say if you walked in right now, either to Smith's, Entertainer, or one of the supermarkets that stocks your stuff? Is that the ultimate goal?
I don't know whether it's the ultimate goal to be in a supermarket. I don't know whether it's the ultimate goal to be in a supermarket or to be in Smith's or the Entertainers. I don't know. I don't know. It's such a world away from where we are right now.
Yeah. That
it's difficult for me to comprehend it. I'm still looking for it. I went over to I dropped off the trapdoor with 88 miles an hour in Nantwich on the weekend, and I got to see Fiendish Feet actually out on the peg that they had, and I was like, oh wow, okay. And I'm looking forward to going over to Leicester Vintage and seeing Trapdoor and Fiendish Feet on the peg next to each other, because it's going to be weird, you know. It's going to be a weird experience.
No doubt it'd be a greater experience as well if you walk in and you've got like some kid who's like, oh, I'm getting into that, I want to buy that at the same time. Do you know what I mean? And
I know.
you're kind of passing that on to them. That's like got to be the most.
I think it's bizarre because it's kind of like, I always look at it from the perspective of, if all this ends tomorrow, and I can't make toys anymore from tomorrow, and I can't do this anymore, and I have to go and get a job driving a van for Tesco or whatever it is, and I can't do any of it. I always look at it that there will forever be toys in people's collections that I made. And because of that, it's like, wow, you know what I mean? It's like there are toys in people's collections that I made. And whether they end up in a toy box or in an ice cream tub in a car boot or wherever they end up, we still did that. It's very odd to me how we've ended up in a scenario where from something that I have taken from my entire life, we've put something back in, and we've put something back in to the extent where people have wanted to buy it and they own it, and it's part of their collection, and it's like, and people love it, and I get pictures from people, and they go, this is my Nima shelf, and I'm going, your what? It's your what shelf? And they go, this is my Nima shelf. This is my stuff, my Nima Studio stuff on. And I'm like going, whoa, okay, shit. Oh my God,
you'd be
really?
making display boards and that sort of stuff to go to shops.
Yeah, it's mental.
Yeah.
See, that was kind of weird because when you talk about that, we'll talk about Theo. When Theo brought out Unit 11, it started on from an Amazon Prime, and then when they mentioned on, I think it was Tom Pizarro's live stream, that it was coming into like the supermarkets, that I could not wait to pick up a copy of that movie. Man, I love that movie, and it's going to be, it's like one of those things, is that it's now that's a part of the collection, even though it's not a toy. That will always be a part of the collection. So even though we all know who Theo from Slimehouse is, it's something that he made.
Hell yeah.
And I think that's the same thing, Baz, isn't it? It's the same thing with the toys that we're getting from Nima. I think you can honestly see the passion that's gone into it. You can see it from the artwork. You know, there's no scrimping on like the cardboard that's used for the figures. You know, like it's not going to bend, it's not going to break. If you want to display them in the cases, display them in the cases. You want to take them out, you can take them out, and that's what I like about it. You can feel the passion that you put into it, Nick, and I guess Theo's put into some of the artwork and the other guys that's made it come to life.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I say, with regards to the just like you say with the cards, how often is it where you get something and it's like, this feels like paper, and it's like, I best not breathe on it in the wrong direction, otherwise it's going to bend, you know? So yeah, I was very much like, no, I don't want this to be like, feel like it's on backing board, but it's got to feel right. It's got to feel like this is heavy, and this is quality stuff. So, yeah.
Well, my main thing is I'm hoping that one day I can get a Super Ted double back.
Do you know what? I'd love to tell you that that's going to happen.
Oh no!
But right now it's not. I'll be honest. I tried.
Yeah, Super Ted. I've got the Teddy with the little, we used to take off, but I thought like, what a
Super
classic
Ted
cartoon. Yeah, a double pack.
Yeah, I tried. So
they're the ones I remember.
I might be able to again, because I'd love to do that, because it's Welsh, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's Welsh, and I'm from Wrexham, so you know I would love to do that, but who knows? Maybe in the future.
Yeah, you've got my mind racking now as well for all the UK kind of 80s, 90s cartoons.
This
is dangerous.
Always happens. This always happens. Whenever I kind of like give that speech, give that sales pitch, people go, "What about this then?" And I'm like, "Yeah. Trust me. If you can think of it, chances are I've looked at it already and I've thought of it and I've gone."
There was one toy line, Nick, that I always wanted as toys, but I don't think they ever did them. We used to have a series in the UK. I don't know if it is UK, but is it Robin Hood, Prince Sherwood, Robin of Sherwood?
Right.
Do you remember that, Scott?
No, I don't know. I need to Google. I'm going to say.
How old is it?
80s or 90s.
Right. Okay.
It's called Robin of Sherwood. It used to be a TV series in the 90s.
Right.
With some
Okay.
quite big actors and that sort of stuff. And it's like we never had figures or anything from that. And it used to be they did 4 seasons of it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, for me, it was more definitely Trapdoor. I remember Trapdoor, Super Ted, Banana Man. Banana Man.
Oh, we tried with Banana Man.
No. All right.
We tried. Banana Man was first on the list.
Yeah, Banana Man.
Banana Man was first.
Oh, how cool would that have been if that come out as an action figure, though?
Say again.
So how cool would that be to have a Banana Man action figure?
I'm hoping we're going to get back to it. I'm hoping at some point we're going to get back to it. We talked at length with the agents for DC Thompson about Banana Man, and that was like in 2019. But we just couldn't come to an agreement with them as to who, what, where, why, and all that. And we just couldn't get it off the ground.
This might be an odd kind of suggestion, but have you ever thought about like the Dandy characters or the Beano characters, bringing them into the action figures?
They're all DC Thompson.
Yeah, because they do a lot of pop-ups, don't they, in London? So I remember when I go to work, you usually see the pop-ups, and it's got like everything Beano, everything Dandy, all the other sub-characters. But yeah, I'm guessing that license is pretty...
Or Willie.
I don't think it's not that it's expensive. It's that there is a metric ton of stuff you've got to get through, like red tape. And that's really kind of all I can really say about it, because obviously there's a lot of NDA stuff you've got to sign before you can even kind of go into negotiations with these people. But it literally is that there's a lot of stuff that you've got to get through, and a lot of stuff that you've got to kind of like hurdles, and you kind of, it becomes very odd.
And Nick, I guess with the research that you do for this,
yes,
is this more you thinking about your childhood and what you saw? Is it a bit like going through old magazines or looking through your own collection or thinking, oh, I didn't have that when I was younger? Is it literally just a bit of everything?
I kind of use a massive spectrum. I'll talk to folk, on a regular basis. We'll go to shows and to toy fairs and Comic Cons, and I'll chat to everybody. And just like you're doing now, I'll take that kind of feedback in and go, okay, and I'll write down the suggestion. And usually gets to a point where you get like the 5-bar gate scenario going, where somebody will be like, oh, what about this? And you're like, well, there's 4 for that kind of thing. And it grows like that. I will read literally every 20 TV or shows or cartoons or things that you forgot from the 90s or something like that, or you forgot this from the 90s, or remember this, or ultimate 30 things from that we all did as kids in 1990. So anything like that, I will read all of that stuff, because even if there's one thing on that list that I'm like, I forgot about that, which has happened recently.
Yeah, because there's one recently. Nick, I keep fanboying out here. I apologize, right? There's one more. I think it's English as well. So I'm massive into my gaming.
Right.
And there's a lot of, I believe it's English. And there's one that I'd always want. I always look for merchandise. I get a little pin badge. I've got the games on Spectrum Amiga. Do you remember Dizzy the Egg?
Yeah.
Dizzy. I believe that's English as well.
It is.
That would, you make someone's dream come true if you can do a little Dizzy. I'm telling you, if that's not in the pipe work, because that crosses communities as well. But Dizzy the Egg, it's
not in the immediate, but
So there's 2 cartoons that come to mind that me and my brother was talking about a couple of weeks ago, and one was the Shoe People.
Yep.
Another one was is it Podington Peas? It was like the pea people, or like they were vegetables or something. You had like the good peas and the bad peas. Was they English or were they American?
No, they were both English.
Yeah.
Dave, how's my poker face, mate?
Yeah, there you go.
Pretty good, actually.
Yeah, cool.
I wouldn't like to play poker against it, but it's damn good.
Shoe People and Poddington piece.
So, Nick, then the question is UK products easy to get hold of back in the day? Or is it, can you go anywhere in the world to get products if you wanted to?
That's an interesting
question. Is it easier because UK, because we live here and you can go to the people from the UK made it, you can go to them personally yourself as a, was it owner or something?
It's a tricky one. To be honest, I've not really thought about going abroad to anybody abroad at the moment. I've not really kind of like contemplated going to.
I know you used to do thousands of cartoons in Spain and Italy and.
Well, I have talked. Well, not talked to, but I've researched some Spanish cartoons. Some quite prevalent Spanish cartoons that were dubbed.
We mentioned
here.
Was it the D'Artagnan Three Musketeers? So you mentioned that, didn't you? So you must have in court. That was Spain, was
Willy
it?
Fogg.
Yeah.
80 Days.
And even
Willy
like
Fogg,
Dungeons and Dragons. Was Dungeons and Dragons American? Dungeons and Dragons, the cartoon.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. That's it. You're not gonna get.
Yeah. As much as that. Do you know what? Dungeons and Dragons is one of those things that I think every toy company, regardless of how big or how small, has probably had a look at Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, I obviously don't know what the likes of NECA and Super 7 are doing, because I'm not Brian Flynn, I'm not Randy Falk. But it's, you look at those guys and you're going, if you're not or trying to do Dungeons and Dragons, then I'm Mickey Mouse. Yeah. Because somebody out there must be working on Dungeons and Dragons, because it's such an amazing license with such a beautiful spectrum of animated characters that you look at it and go, oh, this is just begging for it. This is just, you
can almost see like Super 7 doing a secret run of them, because at the moment Super 7 just coming out with some awesome toys and cartoons. Like, was it
those guys? I mean, Super 7. They literally, I joke at times because I say about Super 7, I'm pretty sure they've got this like thing that's like, we can't do Star Wars, so we're going to do everything else. And they literally are. I mean, I saw a teaser. Was it yesterday? I saw this teaser from them, and it was like the shoe with the vat of acid, with the vat of turpentine from Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I'm like, oh my god, Who Framed Roger Rabbit? They're just epic. The stuff they do is epic. Yeah. It's amazing. And
I know that's Bruce Lee today, isn't it, or something?
Bruce Lee was the big one. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Bruce Lee was the big one. I think I like everybody else. I mean, I don't collect Ultimates because I just don't. But I've seen obviously the Thundercats Ultimates, and they're going deep with those, and Silverhawks. They're doing Silverhawks as well, and I love Silverhawks because anything from that universe, Thundercats, Silverhawks, love that stuff. I've got quite a few Silverhawks, but I, like a lot of other people, are like going, are you going to do Tiger Sharks? Are you going to go into Tiger Sharks? Because that's next. Surely that's where you're going next. And I I've got some of the Tiger Sharks, but not a lot.
Even now, it's quite hard to get hold of it now, the figures.
I've got 3 out the 8. No weapons, but I'm comfortable with the fact that there's no weapons, because I think like the average cost of a Tiger Shark's weapon is around about $200, and I'm like, they put like some Star Wars weapons to shame.
Yeah,
and I'm like, yeah.
It's like anything. You think the weapons, the accessories now in the 80s and 90s are that higher price? You get more for the weapons than the figures themselves.
Oh, I mean, I think that's absolutely true of Star Wars, isn't it? 100% that's true of Star Wars. So it's like
you got an original one, and it's crazy what the
I think it's something like Luke Farmboy's saber is worth more than Luke Farmboy, and a man staff is worth more than a man, and it's like, wow, okay, it's crazy. I know that I saw. Don't quote me on the price, but I saw a last 17 pop-up saber R2 unit recently top out over 400 quid, and I was like, what? I'm like, really? That's a car. It's a banger, but that's a car. It's
either a little plastic thing that goes on your shelf, or I think you can drive around in. It's, you know.
Yeah, it is nuts. It is nuts. It's nuts money. It is absolutely crazy money. But yeah, I mean, I've got. I think it's happening everywhere. The stuff of the ridiculous stuff of, like, you know, weapons and things like that. Like, it's happening all over. I mean, I know that, like, I have a Thundercats Bengali in my collection, and I know that his hammer is reaching like 50 quid, and I'm like, what? What? The figure's only 110. It's.
Nick, what do you actually think about 3D printed items then? I know it's different change in different worlds, but what do you think about 3D printed stuff and that sort of stuff?
Are you clocking the red, the glimpse of red in my
No.
That is my 3D printer. No. I mean, obviously we have 3D printing technology.
Yeah.
Ourselves, because we have to, because we prototype everything in house. How do I feel about 3D printed stuff? Are we talking about
as a manufacturer and that sort of stuff? For prototype, you need to probably 3D print the model first. Take it to the owner that's like the finished piece and say, "Are these acceptable by you?"
No, we are the owner.
Yeah,
we are the owner of Fiendish Feet. So I have to give it to myself and go, yeah, okay, that works.
So technically, you print it out the size first, take it a few bits shows first, and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes we have to get approval. Other times we don't, you know, because the property will be something that we bought. So, are you referring to like repro stuff then? Are you talking about,
because I know a lot of people can't afford the original weapons and that sort of. It's always a question that always now comes up. Would you put 3D printed weapons like Star Wars, for example? A lot of companies or a lot of people are using 3D printed Star Wars weapons. So they can't now afford, like you say, 50, 60 quid for an original 70s, 80s weapon.
I don't know. I feel like I need to be careful how I answer this.
All I say from myself, if you're selling it or anything yourself, you make it known it's a 3D printed weapon.
I think, to be honest, I think that, like, you'd be able to tell.
Yes.
If it was 3D printed.
But like on eBay this day and age, when you used to can't get out to toy fairs, that sort of stuff, they used to sell they put up a original weapon and send you a 3D printed one. It's like, this is not real. They suggest it. You know what I mean? People are scamming.
I think, like I say, I think you'd be able to tell if it was a 3D printed weapon, because they're good, but they're not that good. You know what I mean? And you'd absolutely be able to tell straight away from how it felt.
Yeah.
How do I feel about reproduction weapons and stuff like that? In certain things, I think they can be quite bad news. In other things, I don't see the problem, if I'm honest. I know that there is a massive movement within the Star Wars community that says that that they're a no and you destroy them.
Yeah.
And I honestly feel that if you're not intending on selling them and you're happy with them, where's the harm? But I know people say that there's when it gets into the community and people are dishonest, and there'll always be something that's out there to make a buck, which I get and I understand. I think one of the big problems is that what I always have the issue with what constitutes repro and what constitutes bootleg.
Yeah.
Because, like, what constitutes reproduction? Because, par example, Star Wars Retro Collection. Star Wars Retro Collection Leia has the same blaster, and you have to be an expert to tell the difference, as a vintage Leia. Now, you could take that Leia from that you can take that blaster from that 15-pound modern figure and put it in the hand of the figure from 77, and it looks identical. Especially on a photograph on eBay, it looks identical. Yeah. Both are made by the same company, because it's just a reissue. But that apparently that's still repro, and I'm like, not really, because that's made by Hasbro. And Hasbro.
Well, basically, I asked Baz because Baz had a few figures out. He got the new. Is it Darth Vader, Baz?
Mm-hmm.
And he's basically got a Hasbro inside the leg, not like Palatoy or Kenner.
Right.
So the new figures actually have got Hasbro on it. So
I know they've got the Hasbro. But I said
you can tell that way. It's like when they reissued, like back to Turtle figures. Toys R Us, when the 25th anniversary came out, the Turtles reissued them originally. The colours on all of them are different, if you know. I think Leo's darker colour. All the Turtles are different.
Yeah.
You know, when I double check with Baz, inside the leg of the new retros, I've actually got Hasbro, and if you know your Star Wars history, as you should, Hasbro never technically made the original figures.
No, Kenner.
Kenner or Palatoy. And it's the only way we can get them loose. It's like looking the inside mark. But other than that, if you put, like you said, an old new cape on a brand old Leia from back in the 70s, you wouldn't tell the difference, would you?
Well, as I say, it's more of a, like, you know, if you're going to look at the leg or the stamp on them or whatever, then it's going to say Hasbro, which is great. But like I said, I don't think the weapons are marked.
It might be slightly different. I don't know, but
there might be different colours, that kind of thing. I think it's always, I always find it that people, it's always very odd because people talk about as well. They'll talk about reproduction. Yeah. Repro is bad.
See, just kind of what we're talking is that I'll put myself on the big screen so I can show this. So we've got a Stormtrooper here that looks vintage. It's actually still got the maker's mark on it that was made in
Taiwan,
1977. Right.
But just having a look at it, can you see any difference? Does anything kind of
the face is slightly different? I think it's the Stormtrooper's mask is different.
You turn that around.
Yeah, the bit on the back is it as well, and
yeah, it doesn't look right.
Yeah, I was going to say it looks like a newer.
It's this. Wait a minute. This isn't one of the. Oh God! They come in like a pack, and there's like two of them, and there's a black one with it. Who is it that makes those?
Crazy Toys.
Crazy Toys. There you go.
Well, a couple of years ago when these come out, folk were buying tons of these, and knew that you can get them. You can get like the Repro cards and all that. Folk were actually carding these up as vintage Star Wars.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until folk were actually getting them is that somebody actually owned one up. These have all got ratchets in the arms. And if you look at a normal vintage Stormtrooper, it's a solid piece for hand for the hand is to the shooter. This is a separate piece.
Right.
So all the joints have actually got like a slight ratchet in them.
Right, got you.
But folk were buying tons of these when you could pick these up for like £2 or £3 a couple of years ago. Folk were buying tons of these and selling the white one as a vintage, as original Star Wars because
I'll tell you, you put a picture of that on like eBay and selling that as a vintage, you would almost get away with it, couldn't you?
Because unfortunately, as I said before, there's always somebody that's dishonest.
I wouldn't know the difference between like the vintage rifle that comes with Stormtrooper and this one, but this is a harder plastic.
Yeah.
So I don't know how But
if you had them in your hand, you could tell, but your pictures, you can't.
No, and this is why it's a problem. This is why it's a problem. I say it's a bit of a minefield, and I know that
you'll probably have seen these at toy fairs, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it was my brother picked these up, what, two years ago or something, and he's like, "Oh, you like them?" And it wasn't until I kind of, "Oh, actually, that's in vintage." And then I kind of started hearing stories that folk were buying them and then repackaging them as from in vintage Star Wars, and it wasn't until people were.
They are great. They're really, really cool. It's just that it's one of those things, isn't it? It's you look at them and you go, well, it's the bootleg stuff, and I know that people kind of look at it and they go, well, Repro's wrong, bootleg's wrong, anything like that in Star Wars is wrong, and I'm like, okay, all right, that's fine. I'm all for that. Why are you paying $5,000 for a Yuzai? Why are you paying $5,000 for a blue Snowtrooper then? Well, it's Yuzai, isn't it? Yeah, but it's a bootleg. It's not legit. It's a bootleg. Or like the folks that pay like, like $3,000 for a model tram lead figure from Brazil. I'm like, it's a bootleg. It's not real. Star Wars never made lead figures. It didn't happen. You know what I mean?
It's like Never-Ending Story. The official figures from Brazil are bootleg figures, Never-Ending Story, which are bootleg figures.
Yeah, exactly.
I know some of them, when we have a chat with Baz, occasionally he brings up toy lines, but when we search for them, the only companies that's now done them are bootlegs or knockoffs.
Yeah,
and always
Never-Ending Story, Dave, is that I would love a Falcor. That is one thing I would love to have in a collection, is a Falcor figure. I know you can get I know there's PVC ones that you can buy.
Yeah, I just don't understand why the Never-Ending Story has never been done.
No. But they bought back in the 80s and 90s, that many movies and toy companies, and they're like, you couldn't keep all the toys anyway. Yeah, nowadays, it's a bit easier now, but
Never-Ending Story is just. It's like it's made for an action figure line.
Yeah.
Like the core cast of that is the world's greatest wave of action figures. It's like, who in their right mind didn't pick that license up? Because you've got Bastian, Atreyu, the princess, the rock biter, the dude with the snail, Falcor, and is there one other? Or is have we got them all?
What about the horse?
Oh, is it Artax? Is that?
Yeah.
Well, I can't really remember all those. So Atreyu's with Artax, then. But it's perfect. It's a perfect line of action figures. It's like, look at it. It's there. It's ready made. Go do it.
It's the same with Legends. The amount of there's only like NECA, or is it McFarlane Scott that's done figures for you?
But they only ever did the Lord of Darkness.
Yeah.
How cool would the rock biter be with his little bike thing? I mean, that'd be a cool display piece, like.
Just beautiful.
Because I always wanted. Do you remember the? Again, I think it's a British movie. Is it Skrull, where you had the character with one eye, the Cyclops?
Yeah.
The characters in there are so iconic. I was always like, why? I would have thought someone like NECA or someone would have picked that line and just done a few of those characters. But not to be.
I'm trying to think the ones that I always wanted. I always wanted Trapdoor, so we did the Trapdoor.
What about something like the BSG, the Big Friendly Giant, when they did the cartoon and it's
Roald Dahl?
Yeah,
just no. Big no. It's just off limits.
Unless you got a big
things
checkbook.
Are off limits.
Unless you got the big checkbook like Disney.
Well, Disney's off limits. It's like you just don't know. It's like, Disney is just.
Was Batthing one of ours? Is it Batthing?
I believe it is.
Is that one?
I believe it is. That's quite old Batthing though. That's 60s.
Yeah.
That's quite old.
Hey, that's going back a few years, Scott, that thing, man.
There you go. I remember that. Must have been reruns, but
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
and Count Duckula. Count Duckula was a good one. But
What was
we've
that?
already had a toy line of that. Count Duckula.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. You see again, Duckula. We tried with Duckula because Duckula would have been the crown jewels.
Yeah.
Duckula would have been the crown jewels, but Duckula, unfortunately, or fortunately, whichever way, Duckula is owned by Nickelodeon.
Ah.
Nickelodeon now own Count Duckula.
What about the other vampire? Is it Little Vampire? I'm assuming that would be
Dracula.
Yeah,
that's you picked up.
Say again.
Yeah.
Is it Little Dracula or something?
Aye.
You picked the figure up last week, Baz, the green-headed one.
Right.
I was just wondering if that was because I know there's a cartoon, but I cannot remember it or no.
There's a lot of these like lost cartoons that you can't get them on like DVD or Blu-ray, or there's no like streaming for them or anything like that, and you literally have got to like dig like seriously deep to try and find stuff. Like I believe, like you were talking about Poddington Peas, that's on YouTube. But you see, weirdly, it's really odd. It's like you talk about Poddington Peas because Poddington Peas is something that we have and are looking at. And the Poddington Peas, if I said to you how many episodes of that show are there, what would you say?
See, when I was a kid, it seemed
Back
like
in the day, it used to be 15 episodes minimum.
30.
To my knowledge, there are 13 episodes of the Poddington Peas.
13.
And that's all there are.
They must have been repeating that every day on BBC. Like,
yeah,
just rewatching.
That's
was
all
it
there
most of the
are.
toy lines are 13 or 15 back in the day, Nick? Like, was it the humanoids like 13 or 15 episodes and that sort of stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy though, isn't it? When you think about it. When you think about like, because you got something in like, and you're like, God, that was on forever, and it's like, yeah, but there was only that many episodes, and they just ran them, and it's like, did we forget them once we'd watched them or something? But then you see, you've got ridiculous things like if I said to you, Raggy Dolls, right?
Love Raggy Dolls.
Oh,
dolls like you and me.
You're gonna sing the theme song. I think you should.
All I remember from the UK back in the cartoon, but they weren't a cartoon, Rosie and Jim and all that type of stuff. But I know they made toys with Rosie and Jim. And
they made the soft toy stuff, didn't they?
Yeah, made all sorts of stuff, didn't they?
Somebody found one of them recently in a shed, and it was like all decaying and weird, and it was really creepy. It was like, oh God. I saw an image of it on social media, on Facebook or whatever, and it was just like, wow, that's freaky. But like Raggy Dolls, it was like 6 or 7 seasons.
I actually found like the big stuffed ones, but I got them for my 2 nieces.
Right.
I found them in a charity shop. Probably just before we went into like first lockdown, and it's the first time I've seen like Rosie and Jim stuff like in the wild kind of thing.
Yeah.
I remember my sister and my brother, they watched it religiously. I mean, they watched every time they finished school. That was the first thing they watched was Rosie and Jim.
Rosie and Jim. Yeah, it's like it's I've got one. Oh God, what's the show called? Oh my word, what is the show called? Century Falls.
Yeah.
Century Falls is the show, right? I can't even find it. I remember it from when I was a kid about this, mum and daughter that move into this little town, and there's something wrong in the town, and all the people in the town worship this weird golden mask that's in the house up on the hill kind of thing. And I remember this thing being really creepy and really weird. And this was BBC or a show, I think it was, Century Falls, and I can't find it. It's out there. I've been on Google and went, did I imagine this? I didn't imagine this. And it's like, no, it's real. And And I think actually, if I remember rightly, I had to describe it to Steve Howard, who's one of the organizers, and because he's really good like that with that kind of stuff. And I was like, Steve, this is the premise, and he went to Century Falls, and I'm like, right, okay. And I went online and was like, look, read the synopsis, and it's there, but can I find it to watch it? No. It's like it doesn't exist. It's like, yeah, we aired it and then we'd like taped over it or something.
Yeah, it's gone.
Do you remember it was the early 90s I get coming, but it was called The Demon Headmaster.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. There's two of
those.
Queen's
Nose.
The Queen's Nose, yeah.
Demon Headmaster, Queen's Nose, all that kind of stuff.
Oh, they like go round a twist.
Mm.
You had like those, didn't you? Round a twist. I remember one called Pugwash. I think it's Pugwash. I think it was Australian though, that used to come on. Yep. And then there was one. I only found this the other day. I used to watch it all the time as a kid, and I never knew what it was called. But I remember a kid dropping out of a treehouse, and he went into a coma, and he was like in another world, and it's called The Odyssey.
Yeah,
it was like a Channel 4. Erie, Indiana. So I used to love Erie, Indiana.
Oh, it was a good show, Scott. I really liked that.
Weird stuff like Michelangelo.
Yeah.
Spats. Do you remember Spats?
Oh yeah, that rings a bell.
Yeah.
You know, obviously Rod Hull and Emu.
Yeah.
You know,
Emu.
Rod Hull and Emu with grot bags.
Classic characters.
Yeah. And then
you had Orville as well, didn't you? Orville.
Say again.
Orville. That's a bit later though. Earlier, isn't it?
Yeah.
Orville.
Orville and Monkeys.
Sooty and Sweet.
We had them on last week. Didn't we? About Soot and Sweet. Yeah.
I think one of the things that we're also trying to do is we're not just doing like shows, and cartoons. So like we've done the Trapdoor, and we've done Fiendish Feet, which are two very different things, but from the same era. Mm-hmm. And there's going to be more stuff that we do that's like you never would have thought to make a figure out of that, but we have done, because it's more about trying to capture the era than it is about, well, this TV show or that TV show, this TV show or that TV show. So,
Nick, I need the Dizzy the Egg figure if you can. One off.
We've got some crazy stuff on the way.
Yeah, good.
There's
and is
it
like what you said, going into different genres? Like, so something might be from gaming, or something might be for, like you've done with the Fiendish Feet, and you've done with the Trapdoor, etc., or some of your own creations, maybe.
He's done yogurt pots. He's done plasticine. He's done his own creation. You always say with Nick, what's next? And always think of the unexpected.
Play sets and vehicles.
For what?
I'd like a little fridge for my yogurt pots to go in.
Sure you would, yeah.
I bet everyone says that to you, though.
Do you know what? It's
and it's the price, I'm assuming.
Say again?
Mostly the price with that stuff as well. The price, and to actually sell as much as you would do the figures, I would thought there maybe not much in it.
See, vehicles and playsets are a tricky one. Yo, how you doing? Vehicles and playsets are a really tricky one. Like, you're never going to sell as many vehicles as you are an action figure, and you're certainly never going to sell as many playsets as you are an action figure. Playset wise, Fiendish Feet, we have talked about this countless times, and we've been working on this for a while now, because I know you've said about the fridge.
Yeah.
But realistically, like, how does that work? Because I can't sell you a fridge. I can't sell you a little mini fridge like you would used to get in Mankind or a gadget shop. Because why would you want that?
The closest thing to something like that, it's almost like the grocery gang and that sort of stuff, which is slightly been done before that, you know.
If I'm going to sell you a playset for Fiendish Feet,
it's almost like you need to do a shopping mall where you put like racks from like the old supermarket and that sort of stuff where you put food onto it, which I think Nick's already been done before.
If
I can't sell you on the playsets, can I sell you on the? This is another random one. Where shall I go with this? Right, so you know where you get like you've got. So I've had it in the past. Brilliant lines where I don't even know who created it. Where you had like a Judge Dredd figure, you had like a Savage Dragon, I think it was, and then you had the builder pieces to build Ash. Was it no Ash in the Pit? And if you could build some crazy 80s UK cartoon like builder piece,
they are quite tricky to do
because you've got the necessities in each one. I think if you can have a little arm, a little leg, and I can build something. Bringing back to my Kindle days.
They are difficult. They're not the easiest to do. Aren't baths, should we say?
Yeah.
Playset wise, and just going back to that for a second.
Yep.
There is a design for a Fiendish Feet playset.
Mm-hmm. I just see Scott's eyes just lighting up.
I think this could be something where release pictures. If you don't ever do it, release the pictures like 5 years down the line, and people could have seen what was there.
That was probably Nick's last studio or YouTube video himself, where he says, "This is all the stuff we supposed to worked on, but never came out. Sorry, guys." It's like
I honestly think that it will. I think it will, because it's interesting.
Yeah.
And it's a bit different.
And
it's not quite what I think everybody expects us to do a fridge, because that's obvious.
I'm thinking of a supermarket shelves where you actually build the shelves up yourself. Like it's like a supermarket. You put your food on it, and like you went to like back in the 80s. You went to the fridge in the supermarket and take them off the fridge itself, the fridge counter itself.
See, I have got an idea. As I said, there is a design.
Something just popped in my head, because even though you have like the yogurt pots, because they're all kind of like monster related characters, I could see like a Frankenstein style setup that you could put the pots on and then kind of bring them to life, kind of thing.
Another one you could do.
The idea I had in my head. Well, the Fiendish pots, they're kind of like monsters in their own way, kind of thing.
Because I know Nick absolutely loves turtles bats, and quite a goodish idea. We came with Heroes and Half Shell Turtles, where they did a big Leonardo, but when you're turning round, you had slots in to put all your little figures in.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, Nick could make a big Fiendish Feet cup holder like display as a shop, but then make it in half, open it up, and put your little Fiendish Feet, or your like Nick does the little ones as well, don't you? The clear versions, especially, and the big ones. So you can have like
some different ones of those coming as well.
That in, like open a Fiendish pot up, big pot up on display, like a shop display, and then put the figures inside the yogurt pot and close it all up, and there you go.
Like a carry case.
Yes.
I can see what's
carry
going
case slash
coming up with ideas.
A jumbo size Fiendish Feet, like a big size.
I don't want to be. I don't want to be rude and say I'm not going to write them down, because
he's probably thought of them.
Everything that you're already saying, I'm kind of glancing over in that direction and going, yeah, it's on the whiteboard. Yeah, it's on the board. Yeah, it's on the board. It's kind of like it's.
Can we just move the camera right a tiny bit? Not left. We've seen the right room. We just want to see the left room.
No, we're not going to do that. It's like vehicle, for example. A vehicle for a Fiendish Feet. What the hell do you do as a vehicle for a Fiendish Feet?
For Barnyard Commandos did was it a tank, Scott? Barnyard Commandos did one?
Yeah.
Like a tank or something?
Same, didn't they? Food Fighters done loads of different ones that went in like they had a pan. I was thinking more of a maybe just like a yogurt pack or something they can fit into, so they look like how they were when you used to pick them off the shelf, and they slide in. Yeah, and I'm actually surprised, Nick. Has anyone like with how, because I love I think they're big. I've said this loads of times anyway. But I'm surprised, like the actual food manufacturers haven't look with everything that comes back. You go in supermarkets now and they bring back old packaging. I'm surprised no one's actually put these on the shelf, just from the pure 80s and retro, like pop culture that's going on now and people picking it up.
Yeah, that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah,
if they do, then they still need to come back to you now to get the license.
Yeah.
There you go.
And then I can retire. Yeah. No, they would. They would need to come to us. Yeah.
Who was it who done the old joggers then? Was it Muller? Was it someone like that?
St. Ivel.
Okay.
St. Ivel, which I think is now Muller.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see, again, I can't tell you, I can't say too much. But I mean, what I can say is, I can say, obviously, with regards to what you were saying about, and a Fiendish Feet vehicle, I can say that I know what a Fiendish Feet vehicle looks like. And you will do as well soon.
Yes.
We read it in first. That's all we wanted. Just one exclusive. There you go.
Well, it's kind of glad that you've got a new job, Scott. You're going to be needing extra cash very soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been working on that for quite a while as well. So,
Baz, do you want to stick the link up in the chat if anyone wants to join in or jump on? They can join in.
I'll do it now.
And I've asked Nick this question before, especially now with Comic Con, toy fairs, everything else coming up nowadays. Nick, what do you call now an exclusive or toy exclusive? For example, you go to San Diego Comic Con and it's only available at the show. But then next minute, Hasbro, the owner, puts it on Hasbro Pulse. So everyone around the world has it, which you don't mind. But when does now exclusive become an exclusive toy to a product or a company?
I think, just me, I think exclusive in this day and age is defined by its numbers and its availability. To be honest, I personally don't. I mean, I for one, in terms of our product, if we make an exclusive for a show or to launch at a show, you'll normally see that an exclusive is launched at an event.
Yes.
I won't limit it. If it sells out at that event, it sells out at that event. But it's not always the case. Very rarely is it the case. I mean, I know NECA, they'll do a lot of stuff that was the Ninja Turtle stuff when they were limited to just San Diego and New York, and they couldn't go beyond those. They'd sell out at the show because that was the only place people could get them, and that was the only place they were allowed to sell them. So they made sure that they almost short ran them, so they weren't left with stock that they couldn't then sell elsewhere, which makes perfect sense, because why, if you haven't got the license to sell it everywhere, why would you want a warehouse full of it that you've overmade? I personally would not put a product online that's an exclusive.
For sure.
Because again, you can't expect everybody that's in your potential fan base to get to that one event. I understand that people say that, but that's why it's an exclusive for London Comic Con or San Diego or New York or Toronto or wherever. And yeah, I get that. But I also see it that, if I've got those customers that support me in my endeavor 365 and we'll buy what I put out and are going, well, I want the Fiendish Feet, and I want the Fiendish Feet vehicle, and I want the Fiendish Feet playset, and I want the carry case, and I want the one that you're going to be releasing in April that's a limited edition, and I want the limited edition one that you're going to be releasing at the beginning of May. You know, it's those ones. It's that kind of thing.
Yeah. So you
for me to then turn around and go, I'm releasing one at, you know, whatever convention, and you can only buy it if you go to this convention. That to me feels like I'm spitting in the face of that person that backed me.
Yeah. That's
what that feels like. It feels like I'm kind of going, I don't need you anymore. So now I'm just going to, you know, it's like, no, you can go and do one because I'm now doing this. And I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I kind of feel like, no, I'm going to make this
worldwide to everyone so everyone can get an opportunity.
What I've done in the past, when we've made exclusives for things in the past, I've put them up at the same time as the show went live.
Yes.
So like if we've had we did it with the Stranger Things Fiendish Feet.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That we did. Upside Down Spooky Wookie, which was epic. Loved doing that. It was amazing. I'm a big Stranger Things fan. I love Stranger Things. So when we were like, let's do an upside down Fiendish Feet, we'll turn him upside down the pot and we'll make him all grey and green on the top and stuff. It'd be really cool. When we did that and we brought that out for Stranger Things Day, we launched it online exactly the same time
as the doors open.
As the doors open. So it was a case of if you were at the event, we had half the stock was with us and half the stock was back at the studio was allocated to the online sales. So we knew that, you know, and I think we did that. When was that? Was that Wales in November? It sold out in December. There weren't that many of them and it took like 4 weeks. So there's plenty of time.
Yeah.
But I envisage as we go on and we get more people involved and as more people come and start to collect what we're doing and all this kind of stuff, I envisage that might get faster and it might get like, well, things might only last 2 or 3 weeks or 2 weeks or a week or whatever.
You're actually still limited to how many per person as well.
We try and do that, yeah.
Yeah.
We try and do that. I mean, it hasn't been a problem so far.
Nick, I've got one. With exclusives, I like picking up exclusives, especially at cons, things like that. And I know America, really frustrating when you see people like, you know, I don't know if you know Mondo Arts and they do all the posters. Yes. And you see things like that and they only do it to the US and I'm like, right.
Yeah.
But has it ever crossed your mind with the kind of, especially the licenses you got now, the Fiendish Feet especially. So I know, and you'll know as well, and you guys will, how iconic in every comic, British comic or Marvel comic, you would have seen that one pager that tells a little story of Fiendish Feet, and then it'd give the little pack at the bottom. Doing like a limited edition print. Obviously, you've got great artists already. Do that. All of you sign it at the bottom and just do like a run of 100 of those. And once they're gone, they're gone. Because I'd buy one. 1,000,000%. And I'd put it in a frame as well.
We thought about it, yeah.
Because that, I think, if anything screams Comic-Con, like the Mondo stuff and the art that you guys do and what you do and the passion you put into it, them kind of things just sell. And I think the collectors, you just go crazy for it.
I remember Scott.
We thought about it.
Yeah, I remember Scott. Theo did the T-shirts as well, didn't he? And he also did the T-shirt. That was a limited run for a month, and the month where you pre-ordered it, you got it, and there you go, didn't you?
Yeah.
I know he did the donut one as well.
I don't know anything about that.
I think you've probably got one in your collection.
I've got it. I've got one.
Yeah, we've thought about it.
Yeah.
We'd be nuts if we didn't think about it.
I think you've got to, especially the package. I guess the designs you guys use and the quality you put out. I think it'd be crazy not to do something similar to what Mondo does. Do that art, limited, glow in the dark. Let's go for it. Go big bang and charge what you want.
Glow in the dark.
Glow in the dark.
Glow in the dark. Glow in the dark. Really?
Yeah. I think you've got to have some bits glow in the dark.
He basically wants a night light when he goes up in bed. He can wake up in the night time, glows in the dark.
it.
Go to the toilet, still wake, still
glow in the dark, chrome, all that like kind of fancy stuff. But yeah, no, I think Mondo does it really well in terms of those options.
I'm gonna leave the screen for a second.
Oh. It's like drum roll.
So what kind of mix away is you, Scott, or Dave? Have you picked anything new up this week?
Baz, I've been picking up loads. I try and do my hauls now once a month, but I have picked up Charity Shop, Monopoly,
Transformers Monopoly. Yeah.
£6. I don't know if that's good or not, but it's got the little metal figures. They look really cool. Oh, the light's gone off.
What? The lights.
Oh, what?
You mean like that?
Yeah.
Oh man.
That's a big one.
That's not a big one.
Just checking. He looks big on camera.
Don't they all say that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that screams. That's like 80s, 90s, isn't it? All that stuff. You used to get things free in the cereal pack.
So I can show you this because we actually showed this at the NEC Toy Fair.
Yeah.
So obviously you can't see.
Yeah.
You can't see what it's like because of the lights and everything. That's a glow in the dark Fiendish Feet.
There you go.
That's there's no scheduled release date on him yet, but it will be the first half of this year. It will be in the next few months. But
well, we better start putting money aside now then.
But yeah, we had to do a glow in the dark one because
you've got to. Yeah.
Well, yeah, why not? It's because there are
the Fiendish Feet coming. The glow in the dark 3D printed. He also 3D and glows in the dark as well, poster or something,
Yeah, so we really wanted to do a glow in the dark one because it's kind of like it makes sense.
Yeah.
To do one that glows in the dark, it's not something you could do a lot of because it's difficult. Glow in the dark is not easy, and to get them where like our glow in the dark stuff, like it's nuclear. You put it out in direct sunlight for a couple of hours, it glows all night. Because I'm really against.
So you can use them as night lights then.
Say again.
Use them as night lights.
You really can.
Ooh.
Yeah, you really can.
Energy bills are going up, so I'm going to need a few of those.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
there you go. You've solved it. You've solved the problem.
But as I say, we really are kind of, we're trying to just. I think there's a few people with Fiendish Feet they've kind of talked to us and said, well, you know what? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? Are you doing the other? Are you going to be doing, when's wave 2? When's wave 2? When's wave 2? When we get the second wave? When's second wave happening? And it's like second wave's happening in June. End of June is wave 2. That's Fiendish Feet wave 2 is the end of June. And that's nailed on, it's happening. We're already working on it. But my other angle on this is when people talk about Fiendish Feet and they say, oh yeah, but when's wave 2 and when's this and when's that and when's the other and when are you doing this and when are we getting more of the original pots? And I'm like, there's 32 of the original pots. Right? It's 32 original pots from the original series, all the way from those first 4, which were the first 4 there. We've already done Ivor, which was the Christmas one. He was the first like variation one that they did. We've done that one. There was an Easter one, which people have probably worked out is happening, very, very shortly because Easter's vastly, quickly approaching. If you haven't put 2 and 2 together and got 4, there you go. There's an Easter one happening. There was the cheese pot as well, Cheesy Weezy. There were other Christmas exclusives that were like frozen mooses and all kinds of stuff like that back in the day. And there were 32 in total, 32 different characters in total.
8 different series then.
But I don't, if I'm honest, I don't want to limit it to what just came before.
Yeah.
Because I don't see why we need to limit it to what came before. I've said this to quite a few people and had this conversation with quite a few people. I want to take what was there and I want to make it into something new and have a lot of fun with it. And it's not going to be a case of I'm disregarding what happened before. If you're a fan of those original pots, and it's all about the OG, it's all about the OG. I got to be the OG. Then I've got you covered.
But you want a modern twist, like.
Say again.
You want like a modern twist where you can say he's today's Fiendish Feet to 2022 or 23 future. Rum and raisin, Fiendish Feet, or if you go rum and raisin, you can have raisin sticking out the side of the Fiendish Feet pot. Different flavours, isn't it?
It's not just that. It's my angle on this is that if you're all about the original pots and those designs of the original pots, then I've got it covered for you. Yeah. And you're covered, and you're gonna get them, and you're gonna be able to display them all, and you're gonna get all the little weird and wonderful variations, and eventually, as long as people keep buying them, you'll have all 32. And that's a no-brainer for me. That's easy.
Yes.
But I don't like easy. I like, let's play around with this and let's look at it and let's go, okay, well, what would have happened if back in the late 80s, early 90s, we would have had a scenario where Fiendish Feet would have met this property and we would have ended up with the yogurt pot with this on it. So, for example, what would happen if, like, you got like
yogurt pot with banana split on the side, or banana man on the side of the yogurt pot?
Well, what? No, like, what happens if? And this is purely hypothetical. Now, I'm not saying that this is happening. I'm not saying that this is a thing. This isn't something we're working on, but it's purely hypothetical. But it's like, what happens if Star Wars meets Fiendish Feet?
Mm-hmm.
What happens if Alien meets Fiendish Feet? What happens if the Toxic Avengers or Toxic Crusaders meet Fiendish Feet?
What about Duck Boys?
Say again?
What about Duck Boys meeting Fiendish Feet?
What if lots of things met Fiendish Feet?
Mm-hmm.
You know? Horror icons, monsters, things that didn't happen in the original, like your kind of 90s grey alien. What if all of that stuff meets Fiendish Feet? What if Fiendish Feet isn't just Fiendish Feet? What if it's actually the base unit for something else entirely?
It's almost saying like your Fiendish Feet with a cousin like it bigger. Like you put an it costume over the Fiendish Feet with like a little eyeball sticking out as a Fiendish Feet, but his cousin it, so you make a whole different character.
It literally is a case of. It's a case of what if Fiendish Feet is not just those yogurt pots?
Hmm.
What if it is the basis for something a lot bigger?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot greater.
Yeah.
And it's not, and like I say, if all you're interested in and all you want is the action figures of those 32, don't worry. I got it. You're covered. It's fine. You're gonna get them. There's no issue with that. And I ain't gonna do them like in quick succession once a month. It's gonna make 6-8 months in between waves. You're good. You're going to get
Nick,
them.
are you keeping all them the same size as well?
Yeah. Just over 2 inch. Yeah. So you'll be able to line them up. Winner. And for those people out there that are thinking, yeah, but like Slurpy Bertie and Fair Enough, they were released in 2 different waves. They were released in wave 2 and in wave 3, and they changed flavors between wave 2 and 3. So like Slurpy Bertie and Fair Enough were chocolate in the first instance, and then were toffee when they were re-released later on. Yeah, I know. I know. I'm aware of that. Don't worry. That's covered as well. We'll get to that when we get to June.
Did you actually eat the yogurt yourself then back in the day, then, Nick?
Yeah. Okay. Absolutely. Yeah.
I was talking about like the Fiendish Feet and like the characters and that. So say for example, you take Freddy Krueger, but you kind of convert it into Fiendish Feet. How would you come up with like the new names for the characters? Would you base them off of the actual original character, or would you just make a new variation up for them?
In some instances, yeah, you're talking about, like, in some instances you just do it, and you just kind of like, you pay homage, because that's what this is, you know. In other instances, you'd obviously look to do it as what it was, and you call it what it was. I think this is something that I'm exploring quite a lot at the moment, where I'm kind of looking at it and going, you know what, this doesn't have to just be those 32 pots. This can be something a lot wider. This can be something a lot greater. It can be something that, and I don't want people to think that, you know, I've got an IP and we sold some stuff off an IP and it's like, oh, I'm going to milk this IP for all it's worth. Because that's not what I'm doing. What I'm doing is trying to have fun with what we've got and very much like segregate it. So it's kind of like, you don't have to buy all these if you don't want them. It's
the same with Ken, Palatoy and Ken. They were turning around to Lucas back in the 70s and say, listen, we've done all the figures for your Star Wars. Can we do an off-screen set of these little vehicles and release them?
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
You know,
like I say, I'll repeat it again. If you're, you know, if the OG pots are your thing, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. I got you covered. You don't need to worry about anything else they bring out or variations or anything like that. Because you're
this day and age, Nick, it's like everyone asks all the companies like Hasbro and everything else, are you doing the full collection? That's one of the first questions you probably get asked a million times. Are you now doing all collection? You know, it's all about toys and collection. Scott, I think you just showed off a Monopoly game. What else did you pick up, mate?
Sorry?
What else? What other toys you picked up this last month?
Oh, so
I think you picked up AEW and a few of the bits, dude.
Yeah, the only bits I've picked up. So I guess you'll know I like to go out for the hunt, looking for these retro items. For me, it's the Monopoly Transformers, because there's not much going on around me at the moment. Boot sales are a miss, and there's not much around. So I've just been hitting charity shots. But yeah, just those yogurt pots, some WCW toys. They were 10p each.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with Ric Flair and Little and Anderson. And then AEW. I don't know if you're a wrestling fan, Nick, but I'm kind of went off. I used to love WWF when it was original. I kind of grew up around that, kind of got used to it, and then I've gone into AEW, which is a new wrestling.
Right. Yeah,
so
I have no idea.
But Nick, I've got a quick question on these yogurt pots as I keep going on about. So the possibilities are endless of what you can do, and I get where you're going. You can do anything. Obviously, licensing, you can change names, do whatever you want to do to get around certain bits and pieces. Do you think you'll get to a point like you get George Lucas has done this, Peter Jackson's done it, where they do a figure of themselves and put it into the pack?
Oh God, no.
Do you think you want to do that? Is that
no? Nobody needs to feed his feet of me.
You know you've got from popular. At least you can say yourself, Nick. You've done yourself as an action figure.
Oh God, no. Nobody needs it. Nobody needs that. Nobody wants that. Christ.
I've actually got something for Scott though. Is that I know you're picking up these AEW figures, but have you been to TK Maxx recently?
Yeah, so TK Maxx have got them, and Tesco's have started doing them, and Home Bargains. Which I'm like, what's going on? Because the other shops are selling these figures for £20, and you're going everywhere else, and they're like £7, £10. I'm like,
yeah, it was a couple of weeks ago. I mean, I do pick up the odd wrestler, but it's mostly for my nephew. The only ones I really pick up for myself is the retro ones. But actually, I found her for £7 in TK Maxx.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't think you can't go wrong, can you? It's just hit and miss as when that stuff goes in, because I think it comes from like I guess it's like a grey market area where they've got so much left that they just ship it out.
this was in like their you know how TK Maxx has got like the clearance section.
Yeah.
This was in the clearance section, but I mean, I think this has been like marked down like 4 or 5 times before it's so I don't know what the actual price it kind of was, but when I seen that for £7, I said, "Oh, pick it up." It's not my kind of thing, but it's not every day you see them for because what are they?
20.
Yeah, I think they're usually about £20. Usually about £20.
Yeah.
But it's like one of the things that I've picked up, and it's a popular game now, but I don't know why I picked up. But I went and picked up one of these Among Us figures.
Oh, Among Us. Yeah.
It's huge, isn't it? It's huge. I've not played it myself.
These
honestly
are reduced to for some reason. These are reduced to like £4.99. But that's the only kind of character I like is like I think he's meant to be like the villain of the group kind of thing.
I have no clue.
Yeah.
I don't really know what the game is kind of thing, but when I seen that character, it's like, oh, I'm having that.
Yeah.
Just like weird.
I would love to pick up more classic toys. The thing, it's just they're bloody hard to come across now, and obviously the prices are stepping up.
Values got to go up in value, ain't they?
Yeah, and even when you go boot sale, I remember when you used to be able to go boot sales, charity shops, you could pick these things up. No one's looking at them now. I think you got a lot of resellers. There's a lot of there's a lot of interest in it as well. That it's getting picked up, even if you've got to go there super early to try and get something.
Yeah, it's kind of fun because like my first boot sale was 2 weeks ago, and I picked up like one of the original Spider-Man figures, and I was showing my brother it the other night there when he popped in, and I'll show you the difference between two of them. My brother,
I think you can still get like.
So this is the one that I picked up like 2 weeks ago, Scott. So you can see like the difference, and there's only like about 3 or 4 years difference between the two of them.
Yeah, it's a lot. The thing is, you can still get stuff like that at a boot sale.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, now when I occasionally go to the one down the road from me, you like it's got Star Wars on it, so there's no way you're gonna find it at a boot sale.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Star Wars equals money.
But like the big Stormtrooper there that I've got, I picked up for a charity shop for 49p. And it's one of the talking ones.
But it's a once in a lifetime thing, isn't it? Like,
it's the same with the AT-AT that I've got here. I got that for a boot sale, but I paid £10 for it, and I've been told that that's like nearly over £100 for this thing now.
My absolute my number one best ever charity shop find, which you probably can't see from there. It's at the back of that case. Is a carded Akamus Automan figure.
Oh Jesus!
In a charity shop.
Yeah, for a tenner.
Wow.
You talk about this guy, but carded.
I am. Yep.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah, for a tenner, I got him. Because I've got both. I've got a loose one and a carded one of that. Because I actually collect Akamus toys.
You can't see them from here, but my best find was a classic Panfor from the He-Man Classic line that I found in a charity shop for 49p.
Nice.
Yeah.
He's not got his saddle, he's not got his helmet, but finding something like that, it's like I've said this to a lot of people, is that some of the finds that I find, even Scott, if you talk to Scott about some of the videos I've put up, some of the finds that I found, is that how the hell does Baz manage to find this stuff? And to me, it's nowadays like, why is folks sending stuff like that into a charity shop?
Yeah.
Unless they don't know what it was.
Yeah, you have no idea what it is that they're looking at.
I'll see if I've actually got the other one.
Because it is like those WCW figures. To me, they're like, oh my god, this screams like old school figures. I was just surprised they're sitting there like in like some 10p basket.
Are they the Galoob ones?
Yes.
Yeah, Galoob ones.
Solid ones.
Yeah.
They were literally just sitting on top of the cars. But I guess no kids really might not look at them because they didn't move or anything, did they? They were quite solid, quite bulky.
Yeah. Because there was two lot, weren't they? They were Galoob and they were WCW. Wasn't the Hasbro WWF at the same time?
Yeah.
And we had a hell of a lot of exclusives for the WCW for some reason in the UK.
Yeah, we had all the colour exclusives in colour shorts, different.
Yeah,
and
they command quite a bit of money.
So, Scott, I don't know if you've ever seen the post of this I put up, but this is something that you should never find in a charity shop. Still sealed, still unboxed, never been played with. but you should never find that in a charity shop.
Yeah, no, because that's one of
I
the.
paid £4 for this. But the day that I found this, I had my nephew for the day, and it was him. He just comes back to me and it's like, Uncle Barry, what's this? And as soon as I seen it, it's like, oh, we're having that and we're going.
Is that a Bandai one? Is it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is
SH Figure Arts.
SH Figure Arts.
Oh, don't talk to me about SH Figure Arts.
I know, we know.
But it's like that. This is like a £90 toy.
Yeah,
well, a £90 for me.
How is
Yeah,
that ended up
yeah.
there? It's what is the story behind that? How that ended up there is crazy.
But I know Amazon is now donating a lot of stuff to charity shops.
Right.
To get popular.
Right,
So
okay.
they're donating because you might not be able to say because somebody's actually tried to take the sticker off, but this is actually an Amazon sticker.
Right.
Amazon's actually donated this, but I think this has been priced up wrong. I think that this was meant to be because the charity shop that got this out of, they do get a lot of boxed items and they put ridiculous prices on them, because they had a couple of Spawn figures as well. They want like £40 for these, and it's like that. They want £4 for that.
Yeah, it's been priced wrong, hasn't it?
So I think me and my nephew were kind of lucky that we managed to find this when we did.
No,
I really, really want the SH Figure Arts twins from Star Wars Visions.
Yeah,
but they were a Target exclusive over in the US, and they're pre-order only. Excuse me.
That's where it comes back to the exclusives again, isn't it, Nick?
They've not been fulfilled yet, so there isn't even any like on eBay and secondary market. And they were $90 each when they were on pre-order over in the US. But it's like, but they are so far the only figures from Star Wars Visions, and Visions I thought was stunning. I loved it.
I know. Comic and ID Toys normally bring the Target exclusive toys into the UK.
They do, and I need to speak to Nick when I see him next and see whether or not he's going to be getting hold of those, because I need a pair of them. Because it was the Visions series. I sat down one afternoon and ended up binging the entire thing all the way through. It was just phenomenal, incredibly well done.
Talking about Toy Fair pickups this week, I've bought Turtles, like Nick mentioned, Turtles.
Nice. Nice.
And then came through yesterday a brand new Turtle vehicle.
Oh, nice.
You got any new toys for yourself, Nick, or pick anything up yourself except for your own stuff?
What have I got recently? I got the Ghostbusters. Hang on a second, I'll go. They're kind of actually over here, waiting to go in a box like everything else.
Let's make his screen bigger so we can have a look at his glass cabinet, I think.
I have
on the big screen.
Ghostbusters Plasma Series Stay Puff.
Yeah.
Because it's the Stay Puff Marshmallow Man.
Oh, nice.
Was that pre-ordered, Nick, or did you just get it?
Say again?
Did you pre-order it or just go into like a shop and be able to pick it up?
No, I got it from a collector's den.
Okay.
From Gas.
Would you show your glass cabinet a bit closer, or just move out slightly out of the way so we can look at your glass cabinet behind you?
Which one?
You know, on big screen, so we just like me and like we used to say, what did he collect and everything else. I always thought you like collected Turtles and Ultraman.
I did collect Turtles a while ago, but yeah, Thundercats is my
go-to.
Thundercats is my focus.
Yeah.
I hate the word focus, but Thundercats is my focus.
Do you collect the play sets as well, Nick? Because I know that's quite a desirable play set, isn't it? The layer.
The lair.
Yeah.
The lair is going to be like my gift to myself when I make my first million.
There you go. I saw one on Facebook Marketplace. It was in Norwich, and I think they wanted $750. It was missing the doors, one of the guns. I was super tempted.
That's not bad.
I know. I was super tempted. It went within about a week.
Oh, well, geez, I'm surprised it lasted
that long.
I I'm missing one. Missing one figure.
Who's that?
Which is a driller.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, goes for quite a bit of money.
What sucks even harder is that I actually had a driller when I was a kid, and I can't find it.
Was that the one that had the Mad Bubbler in as well?
He never materialized.
I know the way in Jordan Hembro, the Toy Hunter, did the series, the Toy Hunter. The prototype actually went on that.
One.
Yeah. And he tried to sell it for like $15,000-$17,000, but that was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
No,
there is only one.
Yeah. Fast forward now to present day. I know people have now 3D printed that. Would you put that in your collection, or would you still pass? Yeah.
I think you've got to if it's 1-on-1. I mean, you
maybe.
like prototype.
Maybe I would. Who knows?
Something like that is completely different, isn't it? Because it's like, what's the chances of finding the 1-in-1 with like 20 grand now in your back pocket, or 30 grand? I would like to take a guess how much it is now.
Possibly, or I don't know. With regards to like Mad Bubbler and stuff like that, they're the kind of thing that, because I do what I do, I have options open to me. So I wouldn't necessarily need to have a 3D print. I could potentially make one into plastic.
Yes.
And and have it there as a thing that's like, oh yeah, well, it's never going to be an original, because this thing about something like a Mad Bubbler or the other unreleased Thundercats, Red Eye, or anything like that, you can't ever be accused of bootlegging or reproing, because they never happened.
No. Only got the process stock page, and that's it, isn't it?
Exactly. There were images of most of them, and I think there's only the Mad Bubbler where it actually still exists. The rest of them, there's only like photographs in like toy catalogs. So it's kind of like you can never be accused of going, wait, it's bootlegging or ripping people off, and it's like, well, no, because if you're that deep of a Thundercats fan, you know that you can't buy that anyway, because it never came to the floor, kind of thing.
So I've got a question for Nick, and I've got same will be for Scott. What's your opinion on the new He-Man toys that have come out, or the new He-Man series?
The Netflix one.
Yeah, they're both Netflix ones.
Revelations.
Netflix.
Yeah.
I've only seen the first half of Revelations. I haven't seen the second half of them. I like the first half of it.
Was it Revelations Badger was on about, or the other cartoon series?
Both. I've not seen the other one. I've only seen the first half of Revelations.
Yeah, I'm the same. I saw the first half.
No, the only reason I'm asking is because he's kind of toys wise, is that I ended up picking up the new Skeletor for the CGI one.
Okay, yeah.
So to me, this kind of reminds me of like proper 90s style, big, chunky. I don't know if you've seen them yet, Scott and Smiths, or have you ever thought?
I've seen them. The thing is with He-Man at the moment, for me, I like the stuff they're doing, and I like the Kevin Smith one, isn't it, where they've changed it a little bit.
Yes.
I won't give it away if anyone hasn't seen it, but I like where they're going with it. But Jesus Christ, I think they're flooding the market with merchandise.
Yeah,
of course they are.
And rightly or wrongly, there's a few bits I pick up. I want to pick up, even so I've got 2 original Castle Grayskulls here. But I like the new one that they brought out, which seems to be everywhere. I guess America's got it, haven't they, as well? The Castle Grayskull, you've got one.
Oh, the original.
Yeah.
Yeah. Origins, yeah.
That's sitting on a shelf on its own over there.
Yeah, but I just think every time I go into a toy shop, if I'm looking at the newer modern toy shops, I go in, there's always He-Man stuff now. And to me, it's overwhelming. Because I'm like, right, actually, I forgot about that. I'm trying to pick up some vintage lines box that I've got loose, but I haven't got in a case that still look nice on the shelf. But yeah, with the Netflix stuff, I don't mind the show.
I think it's interesting. I think that the He-Man Mattel thing is very interesting. I think the development and the speed at which Mattel Films is now moving over the last couple of months is really interesting. Really, really interesting. I think that, you know, the money that's clearly being thrown at this is ridiculous. I can't quite comprehend some of it at times, because I mean, we all know that Masters of the Universe has been in development hell now in terms of a major movie, which it's needed.
Yeah,
it's definitely needed a good production company. Now, I know a lot of people rag on the Dolph Lundgren one. I have a soft spot for that movie because I saw it when I was a kid, and I'll always have a soft spot for that movie because it's a movie from my childhood.
Yeah, so is Super Mario Brothers as well, isn't it? I like that one.
Do you want to be honest?
Yeah.
Super Mario Brothers, Karate Kid 3, Super Mario Brothers, Masters of the Universe, and one other were all movies that I saw here. All movies that I saw at the Hippodrome in Wrexham before it burnt down, which was your traditional old school flea pit.
Yeah.
You know? And I've always got fond memories of those. The thing is about Master of the Universe, it's always needed a big reboot onto the big screen with big money being thrown at it. I think now that they've finally managed to get the rights away from Sony and it's now in the hands of Netflix, now we're going to see some progress.
Yeah.
Now, because Netflix don't mess around with stuff like this. Netflix won't sit there forever and a day and go, you know, oh, well, we might make it, we might not. Netflix will want this out within the next 18 months to 2 years because they want to start, you know, gaining on their investment. I think the fact that there is, who did I read is attached to the Barbie movie? I think it's Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling.
Whoa. Are
attached to the Barbie movie. And I'm like, what? Sorry, what? It's crazy. I mean, I know that they're talking about, there's some major scriptwriter as well is currently writing this fantasy adventure movie that's Polly Pocket.
Oh wow.
And I'm like, what? What? There's gonna be a Polly Pocket movie? Okay, right. But the one that really caught my eye, the one that was like, oh, like the what now? And I kind of was like looking at this, and it's only mentioned in passing, but it really caught my eye. Is that it's like, yeah, Master of the Universe, Barbie, Polly Pocket. We're doing this, we're doing that, we're doing the other, and Dino Riders.
I was just about to say that. I heard, I don't know if that's a rumor or no, but they were thinking about doing Dino Riders, Street Sharks.
Yes.
I cannot remember what the other. There were 3 movies that got mentioned. I can't remember what the third one is, but it's like.
I mean,
Dino Riders.
It's been on the card for ages.
Yeah, it has.
Well,
it has. But
Mask, surely. Mask has got to be one of the more visionaries.
Mask has been teased around for like 5-10 years.
Yeah.
Everyone's still up and on about Mask. It's crazy.
But Street Sharks, I'll be honest, I'm indifferent on. I never collected them. I never got into them. I don't know anything about them. I'm indifferent on it. But a Dino Riders movie.
Oh.
A Dino Riders movie. A live action. We're talking alien races riding dinosaurs here. Live action. We're talking Jurassic Park meets, like, I can't even think of something for it to collide with right now. Like Star Wars. Like Star Wars meets Jurassic Park. I'm like, holy shit. You see it. Oh my god.
There is a Korean series out at the moment. I'm not too sure if it's Dino Armor or Saucer Armor, something down that line, but it gives off like the Zoid like effect, and it also gives off like the Dino Riders. It's like,
yeah,
I've watched the first couple of episodes yet, and it's like they have real dinosaurs, but they call on the dinosaurs to help them. And the next minute, they actually pilot like ships, but the ship actually turns into armor for the dinosaur. It's the coolest thing I've ever seen. So it's like to me, it's like watching Power Rangers, Dino Rider, and Zoids all in the one series. It's good.
The possibilities for a Dino Riders movie are just endless. I'm like, oh my word.
Because me and my younger brother, we were talking about like movies that we would love to see, and one that he says, I would love to see a Biker Mice from Mars movie. Because he grew up.
Yeah, if it's done right,
he would like to see a Biker Mice from Mars movie. I would like to see that too, because I would like to see how they would do it. If we would follow the original 90s storyline, or are they going to update it like what they did with Turtles?
Yeah.
Are they going to be alien mice, or are they going to be like muted something else kind of thing?
Yeah. I mean, it all depends really. I would love to see. I mean, I'll be honest. I would love to see the rumor come true that the Russos are going to return to Marvel, and they're going to direct the Secret Wars. And I'm like, you're like going, give me. Just to take all my money, because that would just be amazing. I would. I'm going to echo what basically social media has been saying now for like the last week. I'd be very, very boring on that and just say that, I would love to see a Bryce Dallas Howard Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
Because the woman's incredible. Just, we all know how good Dave Filoni is. We all know how good Jon Favreau is. We all know how good, Robert Rodriguez is, etc. But I got to be honest, and I don't want to sound, sexist or because I'm not being sexist, but why everybody is so obsessed with, Rogue Squadron's off, Rogue Squadron's back on, it's off, it's on, it's off, it's on. Oh, Patty Jenkins is in new talks. I'm like, I don't care. Did you see Wonder Woman 1984? It was garbage.
Yeah.
The first one is amazing. It's a brilliant origin story. But 1984 is utter garbage. It's a terrible, terrible superhero movie. Terrible movie. So why everybody is so obsessed and so fussed about Patty Jenkins directing a Star Wars movie, I have no idea. When, the Star Wars universe already has
3 bad films in there anyway, so what's the difference?
Well, there was Bryce Dallas Howard. There's Deborah Chow, who's currently show running Obi-Wan and was a director on The Mandalorian. It's like both of those ladies are incredible at their art form. Why we have to have Patty Jenkins and why we have to wait for her to go and do Wonder Woman 3 before we get Rogue Squadron? No, give it to Bryce Dallas Howard. She knows what she's doing with Star Wars. So it's kind of like I think all I'm doing is just echoing what the entire internet is saying. Is like, we don't really care about that. Give that lady a Star Wars movie, because that's what we all want to see. And in terms of like Star and stuff that I want, movies I want to see. I want to see more Star Wars on the big screen. That's what I want, because I haven't seen Star Wars on the big screen now since 2019. As much as I love
Star Wars as well, because you've got all the side characters that we all kind of got to hear maybe once or twice. And I would love to see like Juno. So is it Juno Solo, like Han's daughter?
Yes.
I would love to see her in live action. I would love to see I would like to see some of the Skywalker.
I've had this conversation a few times with a few people where I'm very. I don't understand why Warner Brothers doesn't do DC very well.
No.
It's DCEU live action like universe. Somehow it still doesn't have a grip on it. It doesn't know what it's doing with it. But what they do well is animated movies.
Yeah.
Their animated catalogue of individual standalone Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Justice League films are all incredible. They're all brilliant. And it's like they do those. It's like, yeah, we're doing Gotham by Gaslight. We're doing Red Sun. We're doing Dark Knight Returns. And it's like, and it's this individual thing. And then they do that. It's brilliant. It really is great. Why we can't have that with Star Wars, I don't know. Well, I'd love to have that where it's like we're not going to give you Shadows of the Empire as a live action movie, but we're going to give you an hour and 45-minute animated Shadows of the Empire. And I'm like,
that would be amazing.
Brilliant.
Yeah, like the new Star Wars game that's coming out, that Eclipse. I would love
if it ever
I
comes
know
out.
Ever comes out, man. I know we've only seen like the trailer kind of thing, but I would like to know who exactly is coming out of that pit. Is that an ancient Sith or what kind of thing? Why do they not just do things like
that? The most devastated one that I've had, and I know that we've obviously run over time slightly, but the most devastating one that I've had recently was the leaked trailer for the Knights of Ren.
Mm.
And then it was like, and I watched that thing and was like, oh my God, that looks amazing. And then they were like, yeah, it's not real, it's fan made. And I'm like, oh, that sucks.
I think they did that for the
really
Boba Fett trailer movie or something, did they? But then put the Book of Boba Fett into it, so it's crazy. Anyway, Nick, we've heard about these finished feet all night and everything else. What future shows are you going to? How can we actually find you if we want to order stuff or meet you in person at the shows? So what shows you got coming up and how can we find you?
Right, okay. So
if you got anything booked.
Yeah. You might say that.
There's a lot of shows coming up, technically March, April time. In the next 3 or 4 months, there's a lot coming.
You'll be able to find us at the Barry Potter shows in March. You'll be able to find us at Wales Comic Con. We'll be at TwinCon UK in London. Other stuff I don't know about at the moment because I can't confirm it either way. And in terms of finding us, NemaStudios.com is where we are at. So with Nema Studios on, Facebook and Instagram and all the stuff where the cool kids hang out and or not, because Facebook apparently is for old folk.
I know I've just actually started following you on the Instagram while we were having this chat because I want to see some more of the Fiendish Feet kind of thing and the other bits and pieces that you've put up.
It's unbelievable.
But we've got all that. If you stay tuned to us we're gonna probably start teasing things.
Do you tease something on your website then, Nick, or Instagram or Facebook, which is the best one?
Instagram and Facebook is where we. The website's very much just like the shop.
Order, yeah.
Yeah, it's that's the store kind of thing. The social media is where we promote stuff and put stuff out and all this kind of stuff. We've got quite a bit happening. I'm not going to tell you what. I can tell you there's 2 new figures at the end of February. Neither of them are Fiendish Feet.
Ooh.
One is a property you've seen already. One is not.
Sweet.
And I think the one that's not, I think it might make your head explode.
Ooh.
I've seen the prototype of this thing in plastic 2 days ago. And even I looked at it and I went, wow, okay. Can't believe we're making that.
I know sometimes the Deflatron and everything else is blown our minds with, like the glow in the dark one, the Deflatron when that came out. It's like when I spoke to Nick first, I remember him saying the Duck Boy. And basically he wants to go back to the old style, which were bringing up Baz, where the figure's about this big, but the card's like, is it 12 by 18 inches, Nick?
14 by 10 they are.
Yeah.
Those
It's like big cards, like you've seen in the 80s, back with small figures. It's unreal.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy. So,
Well,
Scott,
yeah.
I know you're too famous for this, but where can we find you?
Oh no, I'm not. No, I'm literally just on YouTube, Instagram. The thing is, I've changed my name, guys. So I changed it from Scott's Comic Collectibles because I wasn't finding much comics. So I was like, I need to change this. So yeah, I'm Scott's Retro Collectibles on YouTube, and then Scott's Comics and Collectibles on Instagram. Because my first passion is comics, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's turned into a bit of everything, isn't it? Like, I think it's just I'm kind of just surrounded with bits and pieces now. So
it doesn't look that bad for the last time we kind of spoke. The last time
I've cleared out a hell of a lot. I've cleared out a hell of a lot because I need more space. But then I was thinking, actually, I don't need more space. I need to stop holding. Is basically where I was getting to.
Trust me, that's hard.
As I would say, we need to stop buying stuff.
That's it as well.
Yeah, can't stop buying stuff.
As for me, David Stories on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I'm booked into the NEC Toy Fair the 20th of March, and I'm doing a big birthday special, which I'm taking one-offs and that sort of stuff to the show, which I don't normally take. I'm taking a few different things. Like, I hate showing things up before, but I'm going to take one of my swords home and He-Man sword with me.
Nice.
With all the exclusive robots and everything else. And then 2 weeks after that, I'm at Echo Base Live, the Star Wars convention in Redditch.
Oh, nice, nice.
It's something different. So I thought I'd book into that. So, Baz, you want to lead us out and do your stuff?
Well, you can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok.
TikTok.
Oh,
yeah, he's famous on TikTok.
We are down with the kids.
TikTok's just basically just a showing off the collection kind of thing.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. There is you look at some of the stuff that gets put on, it's like, I'll try that one out. And then it's like, you kind of get hooked on it, but majority of the stuff that's on it is that recently I've tried to update my Power Ranger collection that I've got. Kind of just to show what I had last year and like what I've got kind of now. Because I have added a few bits over the last few months to the Power Ranger stuff, but I did do a room tour, what was it, back in the beginning of January, to actually show exactly what's in this place. But this is only half of what I've got. I mean, I'm like Scott, as I've got a spare room and it's kind of overflowing with stuff. So in the next few months, I'm hoping to try and get in there and get it cleared and maybe hopefully sell some stuff.
Yeah.
But it's like me, I pick stuff up and it's like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then a couple of months down the line, it's like, at Disney, I don't want that anymore kind of thing, but I still...
Yeah.
Because I found stuff that's like, geez, I can't remember buying this. Oh, I can't remember picking this guy up. Oh, I can't remember picking that up. Where did this come from?
Yeah.
But no, thanks Nick for coming on anyway for amazing chat and all inside what you don't normally hear about as well. You know,
say again.
It's like sometimes you don't hear about behind the scenes of like companies or what goes into products.
Yeah.
Where the toy fair just happened in London, you know, you just released Trap Draw beginning of the week or last week, and future things you can and can't say. You know.
Yeah, they did a lot of like.
Yeah. I know Scott wants that poster, or you know,
I was going to say that
for like 1,000 more Phoenix feet coming. You know.
That's it.
Yeah,
I
don't worry.
Yeah,
there's plenty of surprises.
There you go.
Plenty of surprises.
And no doubt I'll bump into you, Nick, at a show and come and say hello officially.
Hope so, and I should recognise you and remember you this time.
And that's it.
See, if not, when you're at Comic Cons, you've got the mask on, so you only see the top half, and it's like that's when you can recognise people, kind of thing. But we'll call this a night, and as I say, I appreciate you coming on, Nick, and I appreciate coming back on, Scott. Hopefully, we'll get you back on soon.
Yeah, it'd be great.
The plan is hopefully in the next couple of months, I'm hoping to try and get Theo on. So if you're free when Theo comes back on, I'll get yourself, Scott, and yourself, Nick, just to come on. So because I know you know Theo, and you're kind of he does some of your art stuff for you as well.
He does, yes, absolutely.
It'll be interesting to see and get more information and see what new stuff he's have actually got out by then.
Yeah, I'd love to.
But I'll keep Dave informed so Dave can let you know, kind of thing.
No, you're welcome,
Thanks very much.
Thanks again anyway, Baz.
No worries.
Yeah, cheers, Baz. Thanks,
Thanks,
Dave.
guys.